Yep, but it looks like we're just going to be jumping into this series again, and this is our final series of the night. It is a bit of a shame, but it is a best of three, nothing but best of threes here. It's cutthroat, single elim. This is it. This is your chance to qualify.
Yeah, this is how you survive in the Shopify lands. I imagine. I mean, look, they say it's an e-commerce platform, and I'm like, yes.
You're like, I know what that means.
I did a presentation at Amazon.
So you're like, and I still don't understand.
But speaking of not understanding, we are now here on Romanticide LE. And for those who do not understand what LE stands for, it is actually Lovers Lovers Electra. That's when it's electrifying. In the bottom right-hand corner, map spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, the blue Protoss player coming out for South Korea. He is going to be representing a freak of freaks. Gotta ask you, Light, are you free?
Down in Africa.
He is the shield of fire himself, Stats.
Boy, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, also representing a freak of freaks, as this is a team kill. It is Armani.
Honestly, I can't predict a favorite here.
I will say that my favorite to qualify, like, is Armani, but that's purely based off of like what I want, not what I, it's like my heart, right? It's what I believe.
But yeah, I mean, I think you look at this on paper and you sort of think, yeah, Stats, he is going to be favored in this matchup. But honestly, it might be my bias, but I'm not so certain. I feel like these two players can, depending on their form, they can definitely go toe-to-toe.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those things where, all right, now it's all about who is feeling better on the day, who is on point at the moment, because, one day, one player can take the series, another day, the other takes the series, so we'll see who's feeling a little bit more on point. And yeah, again, these are teammates. I'm sure they practice a lot together. That's why we saw all that banter in the chat as well. So they're very familiar with how each other plays.
Calling you out, Stats. Where's your freak of freaks tag?
Yeah, where's the clan tag, Stats? God damn it. And oh my god, okay, so I just realized we are going to be getting into a PvZ, and that means, mate, do you think Stats is going to go for some Void Rays? Some Void Ray shenanigans?
He's going to go for Mass Oracle.
He's going to pull
that's what I hope for. Hopefully.
It could work on Romanticide. Again, I feel like this is a map that does favor Stargate play. It is quite large. You can use a lot of this terrain to your advantage.
Yeah, the air rush distance isn't that long, and I mean compared to its ground rush distance. So you can really get a lot done very early on by opening up with Stargate.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm gonna say, Stats? He's gonna go for double Stargate. Fleet Beacon. Okay, no, he's actually gonna open up with an Oracle first.
Alright, he's opening up with an Oracle first. We'll keep an eye on this. We'll see if he goes for a double or triple Oracle play. Again, Stats, there was a time where every single game in this matchup he would just go triple Oracles, and he would do so with quite effects. He had insane micro with those Oracles, being able to kill so many workers despite spores, despite queens.
And he'd make it out of there alive, or with those Oracles alive.
Yeah.
Just so precise on which Oracle to pull back and whatnot. But over time, we have seen a bit more of a temperate kind of stats. He is, not relying too much on getting a lead earlier on in the game, rather just playing things out a little more calmly.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see, as we do have the second Oracle on the way. This entire time, Armani has had an Overlord above everything, so he's been able to scout the opener, scout the fact that there is a second Oracle, so Armani working on his queens to defend.
Yeah, and Stats is going to have to be so much more careful now with the Oracles coming in. Not only does he know that Oracle... Not only does he know that Armani is going to be prepared for the Oracles of Stats, that's the sentence I was trying to come up with. But also, his Oracle is so low in health.
Oh yeah, it did take a lot of hits there from the Queen, so he has to be careful, especially because he isn't going for triple Oracle. He stopped at 2 and instead opting to go for that 3rd.
Yeah, so not gonna be too aggressive in this game. I mean, still with 2 Oracles, that is the bare minimum you need to start chomping down on these drones. I don't think chomping down was the right phrase, but I'm going to use it.
Yeah, start picking off, zapping away.
There we go.
Okay. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, he decides to commit a little bit, gets 2 workers.
Yeah, not too bad. Still needs to be a little careful once again with these Oracles, so we'll see if Stats does decide to continue to commit them to getting worker kills, or if he's going to use them more defensively, more for the utility that Oracles provide.
Meanwhile, we do see, there we go, Stats, he is working on +1, and Ducklings opting to go for Chargelot Archon as his army composition of choice. And Armani, he is going himself for Roaches, which is quite interesting.
Huh. Well, I mean, in a ZVP, it's not... I mean, that's one of the ways to play it out. I mean, Ravager's always invaluable for taking out force fields, and especially against Archon specifically, they can do very well, but what scares me is the chargelet aspect of Chargelet Archon.
Exactly. They want to dive on top of Roaches. They do so well against them, able to close the distance and just chomp away at them, as you would say. So we'll see what Armani's going to...
from now on.
We'll see what Armani's plan is here, because he's investing in Roaches and he's got an infestation pit on the way. If I was casting Cham right now, I would say Swarm Host. He's going Roach Swarm Host, but Armani, I don't know if he really has that in his repertoire.
I definitely wouldn't count it out for Armani. He has used it in the past, but when I think of Armani going Swarm Hosts, I normally think of his ZVT games, to be honest. I normally think of his fairly recent game against Maru where he did that.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what he decides to use that infestation bit for, as the Oracle was diving around looking to try and get some scouting information, has not seen the infestation bit yet, and it is not for Swarm Host. He is working on the Hive, and yeah, this is a lot more standard, working on the Hydra Lurker. Or Hydra Viper.
Hydra Lurker, Hydra Viper Lurker, Hydra Viper. Either way, it all blends together pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a lot more of a orthodox or standard way to get to the Hydra Lurker phase that more and more Zerg players have been using in ZVP or just in general. You go for the Roach Ravager to give yourself a bit of a buffer, or to keep yourself safe beforehand.
Yeah, it's just kind of what you need in the mid game to get you to that late game composition that he wants to go for. Meanwhile, it looks like Stats with this War Prison, he may find some damage, but more importantly, he's going to be able to go in, see the Hive timing, see the Lurker, and really confirm what Armani is going to be going for.
Yeah, can't quite get too much damage there, at least not with those Roaches, but again, that is... getting damage done is secondary to getting the scouting information. Stats confirms this, so how does he play it out from here? Does he decide, okay, I'm just going to hit you before you can get all of your units out, or instead decides to go for the Fleet Beacon and goes for the counter to Lurkers?
Exactly. He's like, all right, you're going Hydra Lurker Viper. Okay, let's go. Immediately throws down a second Stargate, immediately throws down a Fleet Beacon. So at the moment, he does have a decent army composition with all these storms, and he's hoping to hold on till we can get those carriers out.
I gotta tell you, and I gotta tell you viewers, strap yourselves in.
Oh yeah. Because
we are on Romanticide, and yeah, once Stats decided I'm gonna throw down a Fleet Beacon, we knew we were gonna get into a bit of a slower game.
Oh yeah, and that's why we see some side defenses being thrown down again. Stats is gonna want to turtle up until he gets those carriers out. We do see the disparity in army supply right now. Stats, he's just, I'm gonna be surprised if he decides to commit to the outside of the map.
Are you surprised yet?
Not yet.
Okay, yeah, not a full-on committal here. More of Stats seeing a bit of an opportunity to get some damage done to clear up a little bit of creep. So yeah, it goes a little bit deeper and then backs away.
Yeah, he just clears creep, then backs off again. He's just trying to make sure that it's difficult for Armani to really establish himself or move his way across the map over to Stats' side. Meanwhile, Stats, he's actually prioritizing the mothership.
recall. It's gotta be recall light.
Does it?
I hope so.
My god, very rarely do I see, as soon as the fleet beacon finishes, a mothership is going to be what's coming up for stats. Of course, he is working on the rest of his carriers as well, and he's going to be slowly working on that endgame Skytoss army. Meanwhile, I'm curious to see, when is Armani going to really start applying that pressure? Like, he's maxed out quite soon. He still has a lot of road Travager that eventually he wants to get rid of.
I think he starts applying the pressure after he clears out the recall in his main.
Oof. Okay, well, when's that gonna be? Meanwhile, the Roach Ravager wasn't here to defend the Lurkers, so a handful of Lurkers do go down to these Immortals.
Ooh. Forces a cancel over there on that hatchery, and that really was Stats's. That really was the reason why Stats was in that position.
Oh yeah, he just pokes in, cancel base, and backs off.
But he may not have backed off far enough. Okay, yeah, there's just going to be enough defenses here to prevent these Lings from getting much done.
Yeah, plenty of stack defense at the third base. Meanwhile, the wall is a wall, and the army isn't too far away, so he can back off to deal with these Lings. And yeah, the run by doesn't achieve much.
Did Stats supply block himself? Oh no, it was the Overseer throwing down the contamination on that Nexus.
Okay. Oh boy, and yeah, Stats, he's just getting the carriers, and Armani, okay, so Armani, he is working on +3. I don't believe he has, there we go, I was looking for the Spire. He does throw down the Spire, maybe a little bit late. We shall see if he's gonna be able to get Corruptors out in time.
Oh. Yeah, and now Armani, he's maxed out. He's got fully upgraded Lurkers, although not really with +3, but the other upgrades there, so he's trying to make use of them before he has to switch into his Corruptors.
Hey, there's no anti-air. There's
3 Hydras. There's 3 Hydras. There's some corrosive vials.
There's 3 Hydras, mate. There's like
corrosive vials. Well, look at that. Look at how weakened that carrier was.
Oh my god.
It's in the yellow now.
The damage that was done. Oof. Whoa. Hoo-wee.
How does that recover from that? He's gonna have to be so careful.
So I understand that, like, Armani did have to trade out some army, like, to be fair, but to just send literally everything and lose the majority of his Lurkers in the process, and now because of that, he didn't have a ground army to defend his fourth from a run by.
Yeah, what's really scary is that the Spire actually wasn't finished there.
Well,
so Armani, he's maxed out again without carriers.
Exactly. Like, you would think that you would line it up so then the Spire would finish. Then after the fight, you can remax with Corruptors. But now he was remaxed, still no supply left for Corruptors.
All right, time to go for round 2.
That's time.
Send the Lurkers in again.
Time to do it again. Just send it all into carriers.
I need supply. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like, the problem is, because we were here last night, if you recall, you still do need Lurkers with your main army. Like, that's like, until you get to Broodlords, like, this is what you need to counter the High Templar, to make sure they're not free to just move forward and storm.
Which is why Armani is getting a couple of these and just trying to position them in key areas that he can fall back to with the main army. You know, Stats, I mean, he's being so patient with this. I mean, he's not recalling into the main base. So he's already lost, but he's sending in a couple of, Zealot run-bys here and there, trying to get something done.
He has no intention of recalling. He's just, slowly chipping away at this. Meanwhile, there it is, the Zealot run-by over to the left-hand side, causing Armani to send all his things over there to defend. Looks like he should be able to, but the storm! Oh my god!
I think the Lurkers were taken out earlier by the Corruptors. Oh no, there's at least one left. GG immediately called no. Armani, he knows he doesn't have an answer to the Sky Toss, and Stats gonna be pulling ahead 1-0 in this specified qualifying match. One more, and he qualifies for TSL.
Oh my god, those were the juiciest storms ever. They landed on literally everything Armani had, and sure, you could argue that Armani wasn't out of it, but he had put himself in such a rough position. Like, he had a decent bank, and sure, he could have tried to get back into it and actually make Corruptors. I don't believe he was able to make a single one that game. But
he didn't.
Yeah,
he was too eager maxing out.
there were a lot of questionable moves there by Armani, and it felt like he just fell apart. He crumbled to Stats there. That was That was rough to watch. My Zerg heart is feeling for him right now. That was...
My Afrika heart is feeling for Armani.
Feels bad. Oh my god. Especially because I know Armani can do better against his style. He's done it before. He can do it again. It's just I don't know what it was that game. It just wasn't going his way.
I feel like it was lack of anti-air.
You think?
That's my contribution. You did not consider that, did you, Light?
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed. And speaking of oh boy, we are now spotting in onto Pillars of Gold. LE holding up the rest of the current map pool, which are also LE for some strange reason. We are in potentially our final game here for the qualifiers in the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner. The blue Protoss player coming down from, I almost said South Africa, South Korea. He is the one who blesses the rains down under. Representing Afrika Freaks, we have Stats.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the red Zerg player, the South Korean player, representing Team Yaku. Blessing the rain.
Ah, the fashionable guy.
Is Armani. Oh boy, that was a rough game one, man.
That was, yeah, not ideal whatsoever for Armani. I feel like Stats, I mean, that was really Stats just reacting almost perfectly, I want to say. Immediately he sees the lurker, then he says, all right, I know what's the answer to this.
Yeah.
And then he just focused on building up his Skytoss army.
I feel like I didn't quite get to see the scouting patterns for Armani, but it's possible that maybe he just didn't realize what Stats was going for with the carriers, and by the time he did realize there were carriers, he had basically turned all his Hydras into lurkers and he was screwed. He was like, I'd maxed out and nothing shoots up. Go! And then he just, like, in a panic he did that, and you know the Spire wasn't ready, and I don't know, mate.
I feel like, yeah, the Overseer did go in there, but I feel like you're right that he already turned too many of his Hydras into lurkers there, because by the time the Overseer went in, got the contamination off and all that, it was far too late.
Yeah.
It was already maxed out.
Oh boy. All right, we'll see if Armani can bring it back here in game number 2 on Pillars of Gold. As a reminder, this is a best of 3. This is our final qualifying match of the night, potentially our final game if Stats is able to close it out here.
Which is why we're really keeping our fingers crossed right now for Armani to, you know, pull up something a little bit different.
Yeah, and Stats is actually doing things a little bit differently here, opting not to go for a Stargate and instead of Twilight Council.
Yeah, immediately throws on the rope facility shortly after. So, is this gonna be what I think it's gonna be like? Is this gonna be Stats' adept build?
We'll see. I mean, he has the option if he wishes to go into there. It is. He's going for Glaives, and we'll see how many gateways accompany this, 4 or more. It's gonna dictate how committed he's going. Oh my god!
Armani going for the solar build.
Oh, he's doing it. He's pulling it. Exactly. He's pulling the boys, and he's trying to end the game. And you know what? So far, Stats hasn't scouted this. He doesn't know.
He is very much unaware. He's not getting any shield batteries down. Does he have any? Then no, he does not. He does have 2 adepts, so what are 2 adepts without Glaives gonna do?
Die.
All of these drones not only gets a flank off here, but also preventing any more buildings being thrown down. Stats really trying to pull the boys, but it's not gonna be it. GG is called. Armani even sinks out sideways 1-1. Not gonna be our final game.
GG, my god. Armani whipping out the solar build, pulling the boys to make sure he can drone drill past the wall of Stats, and Stats had no idea what was coming his way. He didn't scout, he didn't see anything, and he was just woefully underprepared. No preparation whatsoever for this. GG gets called. Mate, we're going to the ace match.
Man. Alright, something very different coming up from Armani. He realizes, you know what? I can't beat Stats with a maxed out lurker army. So I'm going to beat him with drones.
Yeah, exactly. What's the opposite of lurkers?
Mutas.
There you go. And that's exactly what he did there. Going for the drones. And now we're tied up with 1-1. We're going to be heading into the ace match. And Stats, I imagine, he's the kind of player after that game, he's just laughing to himself.
Shaking his head.
Shaking his goddamn head right now. He's probably whispering Armani right now. They're having a conversation. What the hell, man? Why? How could you do that to me? We're teammates. Goddamn.
Respect your elders, son.
Oh boy. And yeah, with that, I'm really curious to see how Stats is going to respond to this. Like, is he going to go back to his Stargate play? Is he going to play a little bit more conservative? Is he going to throw down a proxy and apply aggression himself because he's something crazy?
I think he's going to go for the Adepts again. Well, depending on the map, because again, Pillars of Gold is a very good map for the Adept build, but depending on the map, I would not be too surprised if Stats goes for the same build. Because Armani did not scout what Stats wanted to go for. Is not really aware of at all how that game opened up, unless he quickly looked at a replay there, but I doubt it.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of really gambled there with his build and what he was going to go for. And in the end, he gambled well. It worked out for him. And now we'll see, like, is Armani crazy enough to gamble again in the ace match, to go for some kind of big all-in?
Well, he's not really true, but...
He's not true. But he is fashionable.
It's not true. Yeah. And true's pretty fashionable. So you know what? Yeah, Armani, he's going to go for it again.
Oh boy.
Oh man. It's a country in the Middle East. Anyway, we are now loading in onto our final map of the evening. It will be Oxide LE as we do continue to breathe, as we do continue to oxidize on our journey forth into the something or another clan Inu. In the bottom left-hand corner map, swinging all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player. And Adelaide, I got a question for you. Are you free?
TV.
He is representing a freak of freaks, the Shield himself. We have Stats.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, showing to us all that the Shield of Fire can be broken. Also representing a freak of freaks, it is Armani.
It all comes down to this. The last map.
This is it. This is the last map, the last game of the evening of the qualifiers for at least the TSL6 Korean qualifier number 1. We already have a couple of players qualifying like Dream, like Ragnarok, as well as Parting. So far, one of each race. Now, it's up in the air.
Yeah, now we need a random player.
Yeah, someone call up Balloon.
Does he still stream? I know he was live like a while ago, but I don't think I've heard of him for a while. I've heard from him for a while.
Man, he has not been active for a long time. It's not. Yeah.
Aww.
F's in the chat.
F's in the chat.
It's a shame. Balloon was a favorite amongst the foreign community of the foreign scene.
Oh yeah, for good reason.
Oh yeah, his English was among the best back in the day.
Yeah, he interacted a lot with the foreign audience in English. He had his whole, streaming and random kind of thing going on, and he even played in qualifiers and whatnot. Not quite making it, but still.
Yeah, I mean, he was on My Insanity, so he played in a lot of foreign events, like players like Jakji and Golden and players of that nature. Yeah. He wasn't one of the Kesper boys.
He did a couple of those, like Team Acer, or not Team Acer, but rather the Acer kind of sponsored Team Clan Wars and stuff.
Yeah, he'd show up for DreamHacks and Home Story Cups and IEMs and all that good stuff. So, yeah, it was really cool to see. It's a shame that we no longer have a competitive random player anymore, like we used to. And yeah, we'll see what happens here, as we, of course, won't have a random player qualifying with one of these two. Oh, do you think he's going to try and do it again?
He hasn't gotten Glaives yet. Stats. He doesn't have the resources for Glaives.
Calm down, buddy. Meanwhile, Armani, he does have 2 Overlords in position to dive in and scout if he so chooses. Meanwhile, we do see he is droning up beautifully. He isn't going for a big Ling Flood like game number 2.
Yeah, instead of opting to play it out a lot safer, sending the Overlord in. And Stats, he really wants to make this go as unscouted as possible for as long as possible. Armani backs away. Once he sees that pylon.
Interesting. He does decide to back away. He has yet to confirm what the opener is for Stats, and as a result, he is throwing down a couple of spores.
Yeah, really uncertain. It could be in the Stargate that is increasingly popular in PvZ, or, it could always be DTs. So it needs that detection out. Going for the Roach Warden as well. Just playing this out about as safe as a Zerg player who didn't get scouting information can play this out.
Yeah, I am still a little bit worried. Like, he needs to scout this again. If your opponent goes for a Stargate opening, then you can drone up a little bit more heavily. You can be a little bit more greedy. If it's a Twilight Council, you need that wave of Lings, and now he does confirm what's coming his way.
Yeah, all of these adepts moving forth. Might not even need that scout towards the end there. Stats. You gotta make a decision, buddy. And he moves across the map.
Yeah, he's coming across the map. Meanwhile, 20 Lings were made at once, and these Lings are going to be imperative when it comes to chasing the Shade, making sure they don't dive in, and there's something there to get on top of them. Meanwhile, a couple of Roaches are on the way as well. Queens are in position to try and punish or push away that War Prism.
And Stats is positioning himself just outside the Sturt base, which is probably the best place he can fight right now. That is a choke point that can be really effective if he decides to use it.
Oh yeah, definitely. You see he is shading in. Again, the Lings should be chasing the Shade. Meanwhile, the Roaches and the Queens are here to deal with the remainder of the Adepts. And from this, Stats is transitioning. He does already have, there it is, we do have the Robotics Bay for those Disruptor drops.
We do, even getting Gravitic Drive to help him out there. And
yeah,
Stats in a little bit of trouble right now. All the Lings are looking to fight here. Oh, okay. We'll have to back away once they get to choke.
Yeah, definitely. Meanwhile, a pair of Lings do manage to get into the natural, pick off a couple of workers, and so far these Adepts have done nothing, achieved nothing for Stats, and now Armani feels confident enough to drone up.
Indeed, he does. He's got quite a lot of breathing room right now. He knows that Stats is not going to be able to try anything on that side of the map for a while as he builds up for the next phase. Going to be involving Blink.
Yeah. Again, as we all know, Stats is a big fan of the Oceanic scene. Specifically, he's a big fan of Pez, and this is exactly what Pez loves to do. Off of a Glaive Adept build, he does go straight into Disruptor drops, and the Lings are going to spot this.
Indeed, they are. Hasn't quite confirmed that it is Disruptors, but even just knowing that the Warp Prism is going that way is so valuable.
Oh yeah, definitely. The army is here. It is in position.
And it is good for Sats. He did not panic and reveal that he was going for Disruptors. Instead, just backs away, tries to rotate around and find another mineral line.
Yeah, he is looking for an opportunity. Meanwhile, it is just these 2 Disruptors. He is switching straight into Colossus from here. So already starting to diversify his own AoE, trying to expand as well, keeping Armani busy.
Yeah, it's always important for the Protoss player to do so, just to make sure that they, that their opponents can't directly heart counter one form of their AoE.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Armani, he is still finding some damage, catching some traveling workers.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, Armani once again going to be pulling ahead here in the worker lead, starting to get a couple of bases as well. trying to make use of those workers. Gets 2 queens. Pretty nicely done there. And recalls out with both disruptors.
Wow. That was impressive. Stats, he realized that there just wasn't enough damage there on the ground, and the queens were busy trying to focus fire. The Warp Prism, he was able to escape with all of his units.
That he has, getting ready for the next round as his Blink and his Thermal Lance finishes up. +1 still a little ways off, so we shouldn't be seeing Stats move across the map too quickly. Armani, meanwhile, trying to hit him where it hurts.
Oh yeah, definitely. He has been slowly working on his Roach Ravager army composition. Meanwhile, I love this. Behind this, he is getting that Spire to switch into mutas.
Always invaluable in this against this particular style of Protoss. We'll see if that actually comes into play. Armani finding a really good opening over here, forces the army of Stats back, and takes out 2 sentries with it.
Yeah, some nice.
How many? Yeah, I was just gonna say, how many potential force fields is that lost there for Stats?
Right, like already some nice value getting gotten there by Armani, able to snipe 2 sentries. Again, keep Stats back because Stats, he was in the middle of pushing out across the map. Like, he wanted to go across and deal some damage, maybe try and deny a base, but now he's completely out of position, and another Ling run by here at the 3rd.
Yeah, now the tables have completely turned. Armani being the one to push across the map and get some damage done, maybe potentially take out a base or 2, setting up some multi-prongs over here just so he can really deal as much damage as possible to the economy of Stats.
Yeah, exactly, and enough time has passed where the Spire has finished and it was not for mutas. Instead, we have Corruptors coming into fray, and now Corruptors are going to be able to make short work of these Colossus.
Yeah, if they can get into a pretty good position. There are so many Stalkers down supporting those Colossus. Very hot pickup here for Stats. He has to be careful. Loses the Warp Prism, but does actually drop the Colossus. But now he's starting to lose the Colossus as well. That said, he has dealt with the Lings. So there's nothing really much left here for Armani other than Roach Ravager. Battery overcharge, trying to get something done back at home as Armani pushes through with his Roaches, with his Lings.
Yeah, exactly, and he's going to be able to push through with his Roaches. Meanwhile, he's trying to defend his home at home as best he can. He's able to snipe one of the Disruptors, only 1 Disruptor remaining for Stats.
80 straight time, potentially.
I mean, it looks like the Warpins are just enough to hold on at home, so Stats, he has been able to defend. Meanwhile, he has to be careful with this army again. The Disruptor is on cooldown.
It is on cooldown and getting targeted, already sniped, and that is Stats completely out of AoE. He's still got a decently fearsome army here with his sentries and his Stalkers, but he has to be so careful when he micros.
Oh my god, all the
not
sentries.
Warp in and warp in because of all the potential course of battles, sentries did get sniped.
Exactly, every single sentry did go down. Now it's just pure Stalkers at the moment against Roach Ravager.
And I think Armani's just about done it.
Yeah.
Takes out the Warp Prism. Look at his position right now. I mean, Stats, decent spread here with his Stalkers, but more and more units are coming in here to reinforce for Armani. He's done it.
Exactly. Look at the disparity in army supply. The majority of Stats' army has gone down. He only has Stalkers left to defend. No AoE, no Warp Prism. He does have a Warp Prism on the way, but it's still a ways away. And Stats forced back to 3 bases. Meanwhile, Armani beautifully on 4, taking his gases. And Armani, he doesn't have quite enough to close it out. So Stats, he is able to hold on for now, but it's on him to make something happen. Nope, never mind.
Funny how that worked out. And you know what, Light? You were right on who to favor in this match. In the end, Armani is going to be our final qualifying player for the first Korean qualifiers for TSL number 6. My God. And this was a pretty stacked tournament.
Exactly. GG. Congratulations, Armani, on qualifying for TSL. Again, he was up against the Tyrant, his teammate Stats, the Shield of Ire. And the Stats, again, looked really dominant in game 1. Not gonna lie, when he did get into that Skytoss army. But, you know, without that Skytoss army, Armani, he was looking a lot more comfortable against this Twilight Council play.
Definitely was, and as Ollie is reminding us, the EU qualifiers which we won't cover as a little outside our time zones, but will be covered by the likes of Wardy, someone on Alpha X probably getting in on that. I imagine Maddox. It depends. Will also be happening in a couple of hours from now. So yeah, the StarCraft is all starting to blend together.
Yes, it is. And I mean, Wardy, he's already, like, he didn't even cast that last series. He's already casting the Chinese events going on right now with some other Korean players. So there's that on top of all these other qualifiers for TSL Super Tournament tomorrow and the rest of the regular weeklies. So there's just so much StarCraft going on right now. As you can see on the schedule screen, we have plenty of StarCraft. Tomorrow we are going to be having a day off, you know, taking a bit of a break before we get back into all of that TSL.
Yeah, taking a break so we can watch Super Tournament. And I'll bet you ahead from there.
All right, yeah, so the next broadcast that we will be casting or hosting will be TSL NA qualifier number 1. So it'll be very similar to this, except of course it will be for the NA server, bearing in mind that the Korean qualifiers are only for Korean residents and citizens. Meanwhile, the NA and EU qualifiers are open. It's not true?
Played today.
Yeah, I don't know if he was allowed to do that. I think
Oh.
Yeah, based off the rules, I don't know about that one. But yeah, so the NA and the EU qualifiers are a little bit more open. It is possible that in the NA qualifier we may see some EU representation. It'd be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely would. But until then,
yeah, but
I think of things to add there.
But until then, thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Again, it was a bit of a shorter one. The bracket was a lot smaller, you know, it's just a round of 16, but thankfully we were able to cast every single qualifying match. That was really cool of Ollie to sort out for us.
Yeah, we were worried for a second because if you know, if any single one of these qualifiers went on for a little bit too long, then the players were allowed to just, you know, start first. But yeah, thankfully it lined up pretty well for us.
Oh yeah, definitely. So shout out to all the players for being cooperative. Shout out to Oli Moly for adminning the event today. Shout out to Spotify and Team Liquid for running TSL. I know a lot of Shopify, sorry, not Spotify. I always mix them up. And yeah, I think it's really cool that TSL6 is a thing here at the end of the year. I know a lot of people were really surprised. They're like, whoa, TSL's back? It's like, yo, they're back with a vengeance. Like, it's really cool to see them come back here at the very end of 2020 alongside all these other global events.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if putting it right at the end here with the other events was the smartest move, but you know what? It means that the whole of December, there's going to be something to watch.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's plenty of StarCraft to watch. So if you're a StarCraft fan, you know, you've got plenty available to you. You're not going to be starving or wanting for any. Again, whether it's on this stream, on CranKy Ducklings, or Wardy, or Creighton, or Rotterdam, or any of the other English casters out there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And with that, thanks everyone for watching. Again, we really appreciate it. Yaku, mate, who are you?
Who am I at this point? What am I? How am I? Over at twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1, twitter.com at @EmporaYakuzaku, !Discord will bring you to the CranKy Ducklings Discord server. Find myself as well as the other members of CranKy coming down. Other than that, buy my shirts. Where can we find you, Light?
Light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. You can follow me there on the social medias. I stream occasionally when it comes to behind the scenes work, working on thumbnails or video editing or things of that nature for the CranKy Ducklings. But more importantly, follow the CranKy Ducklings. You know, we are going to be live almost every day this week with plenty of StarCraft. So make sure to hit that follow button if you want to stay tuned and be a part of the broadcast.
Yeah. We always love to have you. It's part of it.
Yep. You know, attempting to pronounce your names on stream wrongly at first, and then hopefully getting it right towards the end.
Shout out once again to Lilac.
God damn it. Thanks everyone for watching. We will see you in 2 days with NA qualifier number 1.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bella.